Okay, so we started the Gemara after the Mishnah on Beis on Aleph and Beis last week. So, but we'll pick it up again from the beginning of that Gemara, right here on the screen. Right, Bob Memo and Rav Amram, Rav Masna, all said name B'Shem Rav. Hamavas Chaverav Nashlo Lo Tovo, somebody who loans his friend money, and he's not gonna. He says, I'm not going to demand it back from you. Whatever you want, you pay it back. I'm never going to demand it of you. Open-ended, right? Shvius misham taso. So nevertheless, the Shemitah cancels that debt. Even though he's promised never to demand it, it's still demandable. In fact, he doesn't demand it, doesn't mean it can't be demanded. So therefore, Shvius cancels it. Shemitah cancels that debt like it cancels all debts. There's a different gearsa here. Ain't Shemitah Misham Taso, which you Shvius Misham Taso, which you spoke about last week. Let's go for now with the gearsa that Shvius is Misham Debts. Okay. So now Vatina. Now we're on top of the next page. So Vatina, didn't we learn? Hashochet es hapara. This somebody who shechted a cow, Rosh Hashanah, and he divided up on Rosh Hashanah. Now, back in the times of the Beis Hamikdash, we mentioned last week, it was possible for Rosh Hashanah to come out on one of 2 days. The last day of, and sometimes the last day of, I should say, the 30th day of Tishrei, the 30th day of Elul became Rosh Hashanah, or some years the 30th of Elul was the 30th day of Elul, and the next day became Rosh Hashanah. It couldn't be later than that, because no Jewish month has more than 30 days, but some years, the 30th day of Elul already became Rosh Hashanah, because witnesses came, and that day it said they saw the new moon. And other years, no, the 30th day of Elul was the 30th day of Elul, Rosh Hashanah was the following day. So even in years when Rosh Hashanah was going to be delayed, they didn't know that. So therefore, when they started the 30th day of Elul, they kept it as if it was Rosh Hashanah. They're only going to find out tomorrow, sometime, whether it actually is Rosh Hashanah or not. It might take till sunset to find out, to see when this come or not. So therefore, on account of the doubt, they kept that day as Rosh Hashanah, even though it may end up not being Rosh Hashanah in the end. Well, that makes a major difference by Shemitah, because by Shemitah we know Rosh Hashanah is when a debt is canceled. As Rosh Hashanah comes in of the 8th year, that's when the debt of Shemitah is canceled. So if that's the case, if Rosh Hashanah started the night before the 30th of Elul, and that really was the first day of Tishrei, so debts are canceled at the evening between the 29th day of Elul and Rosh Hashanah. But if there is a 30th day of Elul, then debts are canceled on the evening between the 30th day of Elul and Aleph Tishrei, which is then Rosh Hashanah. So now we have a case here. On the first day of Rosh Hashanah, which they didn't know if it really was Rosh Hashanah or not, a butcher sold his shechted a cow and distributed it to his customers. Now it turned out, lo and behold, that day was not Rosh Hashanah, only the next day was Rosh Hashanah. So now the customers have to pay for the meat. They owe the butcher for the meat, but it's a loan. So the question is, do they have to pay, or the Shemitah, which comes in that evening after the cow is slaughtered and the meat distributed, doesn't cancel that loan and they don't have to pay. That's what this Gemara is talking about. So Hashochet es hapara. Somebody who shechted a cow. He divided up a Rosh Hashanah. Now he did this without Rosh Hashanah. If you're allowed to on Yom Tov, you're allowed to shecht a cow, you're allowed to distribute the meat, but there are conditions. You're not allowed to weigh it, and you're not allowed to price it. You have to give it out like on faith. That after Rosh Hashanah, you make or after Yom Tov, you'll make a cheshbon, somehow approximate it, and they'll pay you for what they took. But on Yom Tov itself, although you can shecht and you can give it to your customers, you can't weigh it and you can't set a price. Okay, so he divided up Rosh Hashanah. So now the question is, what about this money? Well, what about the loan that they now owe money? So Mar Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Lezer said, Umar is like Amar, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Hudahi. That case in Masada Shvis is Rabbi Huda, and the Gemara he says, the Hiroi V'royu L'tova Rosh Hashanah. Can he demand for the money on Rosh Hashanah? In other words, he can't demand the money because it's Yontif. You now have to demand back the money because that would look like a sale, right? So he can't demand back the money on the first day of Rosh Hashanah, not even the second day of Rosh Hashanah. So therefore, it's Eino Roy Latovo. He can't demand the money. He can't demand the money, so Shemitah is not going to cancel the debt because the loan is in essence not in effect yet. It's not yet a loan. A loan means that I gave you money and that, or I gave you something, you owe me money, and now I can demand the money. But I can't. I can't demand anything on Yontif. Only after Yontif can we figure out what you owe me. By Yontif itself, I can't do anything. Right? I'm not allowed to, because that looks like a commercial transaction on Yontif, which I'm not allowed to do. So Kai Demar Rabbi Ba b'Shem Rabbi Zira. So it's like Rabbi Ba said in the name Rabbi Zira. Mikeva she'ena roy l'tovo, since you can't demand the money because it's Rosh Hashanah. Now the says she'eno here 4 times in these 2 lines. She'eno and she'eno and she'eno and she'eno. Okay, so the way some people change all of them, I'm going to change part of them. Some people change all of them to shehu. I don't think that works. I'm going to change the second and the third one and not the first and the fourth one. Okay, so so Mikevon she'eno roy l'tovo, since he can't demand the money, Kamisha who shehu roy lamino. I got to trust him. In other words, it's not a loan because a loan is where I can demand it, but I can't demand it. Again, it's not a loan, it's after Yontif. It's just, I have to trust you that out of the goodness of your heart, after Rosh Hashanah, after Yontif, you're going to come and you're going to say, you know what? To the butcher, you're going to say to the butcher, you know what? You gave me meat, let's make a cheshbon, I'll pay you for it. I have to trust you. It's not a real loan. A loan is not, it has to do with trust. It has to do with, I gave you money. So became again, became Shano Roy Latova, since you can't demand it, Kimishu Roy Lamino. You really are trusting. Kimishu Roy Lamino, since you have to trust him, Kimisha Eno Roy Lite Lomos. Right? So it's as if he can't give you money. He can't. He doesn't even know how much he owes you. Right? So since he doesn't know how much he owes you, it's not a loan which can be demanded, and therefore Shemitah can't cancel it. So again, there are 2 aspects. One is, I don't know how much I owe you. 2 is, I'm not allowed to set a price. Actually, there are 3 aspects. 1, I don't know how much I owe you. I'm not allowed to set a price, or because I'm not allowed to set a price or a way to meet, and therefore I can't. There's nothing for me to collect. So all the qualities of a loan are missing. So therefore, Shemitah doesn't cancel that loan. But here, he says, in the case which we talked about on the bottom of Aleph Amud Beis, where I say, I promise I'm not going to demand it from you. I promise not going to demand it from you. That's different. So, V'kan Havuroy Litin Lamos, V'lo Nasan, since he was supposed to give, he could have given money. Okay, he didn't give it, but he could have given money. There was a definite loan. Reuven gave Shimon $100. They'll say, Reuven said to Shimon, okay, I'm not going to demand it back. You give it back whenever you're ready. When you're ready. So there is a loan there. There's money to give. It's a set amount. So since it's a set amount, which was loaned from Reuven to Shimon, so therefore, not necessarily showing a milveh. That first money comes a milveh, and therefore the Shemitah cancels that. Okay, so again, we're going to Girsa that Shlius cancels the debt, even though he promised not to demand it, because there is a debt which is determined, a set amount of money, and it can be repaid. That's different than a case where I shecht an animal at Rosh Hashanah, and I say, okay, we'll make up after Yontif how much you owe me because I'm not allowed to weigh it or set a price today. that when the real Rosh Hashanah comes, that night, because remember, there's the first Rosh Hashanah, which was a suffix Rosh Hashanah. We have to act as if it's Rosh Hashanah. But it wasn't really Rosh Hashanah. But when the real Rosh Hashanah starts the following night, when Shemitah cancels loans, it can't cancel something which is not yet a loan. It's premature to consider a loan. Okay, so I hope that's clear. Any questions? So far, so good? Okay. So now the Gemara says, Rabbi Yossi, Rabbi Bun, Mishem Rav said. Rabbi Yossi will say the name of Rav. Hamalvis Chaber Amnash Lotish Mateno Shmita. Somebody who loans his friend money on the condition that Shemitah is not going to cancel the loan. So it says here ain, but in Masechah Shvi is there where the parallel sugya occurs, and Pnei Moshe he says the word ain is a mistake because this Master Mashkos B'Torah. You're not allowed to make it. It's not. I think it's in the Bavli too about Master Mashkos B'Torah. You're not allowed to make a condition which undermines our halacha d'oraisa, right? You can't say I'm loaning you money. Almanas Shemitah is not going to be cancel the debt. Can't do that. That's going against what it says Torah. Master Mashkos B'Torah. It's no butter. If you make a condition which goes against the Torah, your condition is null and void. And therefore, Shemitah cancels the debt, even though you wanted to make a condition that it doesn't. It does anyway. Okay, so that's what he says. Hamavis chera amanas shelo tishmatenu Shemitah hashir Shemitah tam taso. So okay, fine. Let's say that's true. But what Ninon, when we learn our Mishnah, ben noisla mikan bat shlosh yom ben noisla mikan ad eseshonim. Again, I believe it's in the Bavli as well. That our Mishnah said, how do you determine if a Adam Zaymim came and said, Ruvain owes money to Shimon and it's due right within 30 days. And it turns out only due for 10 years later. So we make a assessment of how much a person would evaluate, how much he's willing to pay to keep money in his hands for 10 years instead of 30 days. But the problem is, well, what do you mean 10 years? During 10 years, the Shemitah cancels the debt. So there's no such thing as 10 years. That which you can't say how much he would give in order to have a loan for 10 years. If he has a loan for 10 years, the loan would be null and void. Shemitah would cancel it. So in essence, they're causing him a total loss because he would wait till Shemitah and Shemitah cancel the loan. He'd never have to pay back. So how can you, if you're going to say that Shemitah is if somebody makes a loan, Shemitah does not cancel the loan. That the loan is still canceled. The whole case of our Mishnah doesn't make any sense, right? So again, but is there 10 years without Shemitah? There's no such thing. So I recall correctly, the Bavli says that if you set a specific time for the loan, then Shemitah is not Mishamin it. When Shemitah is only Mishamin a loan, which there isn't a specified time, but if it's a specified time of 10 years, so then Shemitah doesn't cancel that loan. But that's not what the Yerushalmi says. Yerushalmi says differently. Yerushalmi says that Rav Huna Marispal Rav Nachman Rav Sheshes. Rav Nachman Rav Sheshes had a machlokas how to resolve our Mishnah. Chadamar b'mavel amashkon. One said it's talking about a case where the loan was made on collateral. The Charona Amar because of the prusbul. The other said he wrote a prusbul. So in other words, there are ways to get around Shemitah canceling a loan. We have ways of doing it. One way is if I loan you money and you give me collateral, you give me something to hold on to until you pay back. So then Shemitah doesn't cancel that loan. That loan continues past through Shemitah. Also, Bismana said what we do is if somebody is owed money, and he wants to collect it after Shemitah, he writes a prusbul. Prusbul is a document which it says that I am not collecting the debt. Basin is collecting the debt. Obviously, Basin is going to give it to me. but a base is collecting debt. So therefore, it's not a problem of Shemitah because I'm not collecting debt, base is collecting debt, and they're giving it to me. So also in that case, Shemitah doesn't cancel the loan. So the Bavli gives a principle that, again, as if I recall correctly, that Amalis Chaber Eser Shanim ain't Shemitah Misham Tasa. Somebody who makes a loan for a specific term more than 70 years, Shemitah doesn't cancel the loan because it's not due until the 10th year anyway. But the Bavli, the Yerushalmi doesn't know the way. The Yerushalmi holds it would cancel that loan. Shemitah would cancel the loan. And the reason why the loan is not canceled, and you can make the assessment of what a person would give to keep money instead of 30 days to 10 years, is either in the case of a loan which is given with collateral or a loan which is given with a principal. Like I said,
Rabbi, I remember learning that in the Bavli that it's machukas. It's like ikad amri that it's one way, and ikad amri that it's the other way.
yeah, that Ikadami that is Shemitah Mishami, that one opinion that Shemitah is not Mishami, but the Bavli Yerushalmi doesn't bring down such an opinion. Right, you're right. In Bavli, there are two opinions, but here it doesn't have the second opinion. It just assumes that Shemitah is going to cancel it. Okay, so that's why to come out the Bruce or Mashkon. Okay, Tani. Shloshim Yom. Lo Isei. 30 days, he doesn't come. What does that mean? Isei is like the word Asa in Aramaic, he doesn't come. Ma'u Shloshim Yom Lo Isei. What does it mean? Shloshim Yom Lo Isei. This is also the Bavli. Of course, somebody who loans his friend without specifying a time frame. Didn't say when the loan is due. So, Ein or Rashai Tova at Shloshim Yom is not allowed to demand the money until 30 days elapse. Any loan where there's no specified time is a minimum of 30 days.
Like 10 seconds.
What?
Can you back up like 10 seconds? I missed that.
Yeah, it says, the Gemara says, Tani Shloshim Yom Lo Isei. 30 days, he can't come. Ma'u Shloshim Yom Lo Isei, what does it mean 30 days he can't come? Shmuel Amar, Amavas Chaveru Stam, if I loan money to my friend, I don't specify a time frame. And Rashai Tova Shloshim Yom, I can't demand the money until 30 days elapse. The minimum amount of time for a loan is 30 days, unless I specify. I can specify less, but if I don't specify it, it's a minimum of 30 days. Oh, Rabbi Yehuda Martime. So Rabbi Yehuda came in and he gave a logic for this, a pasuk for this, a pasuk in which we can learn this. Now, the pasuk is really not it's just an asmachta. In other words, it's not really looked out from the pasuk. It can't, because the pasuk doesn't say what we're about to say. It says, except in a very indirect way. So, but it's not asmachta. It's a way of linking it to the pasuk. But really, the main reason why I can't do a loan, collect loan for less 30 days, is because we have a principle, an umdana. We have an assessment, that we make that people want money for at least 30 days. It's just human nature. Nobody takes out a loan for less than 30 days unless specified otherwise. Okay, but if we can link it to a pasuk, we'll link it to a pasuk. So the Gemara says, we have pasuk says, Karbash Nasa Sheva Nasa Shmita. The 7th year is covering the year of Shemitah. So the Gemara says, Lo Ishnas the Sheva Hishnas Shmita. The 7th year in Shemitah, the same thing. The pasuk is redundant. When it says Karvash Nasa Sheva Shnasa Shmita, that means the same thing. You're saying the 7th year is coming, the 7th year is coming. So what's the pasuk telling us? If it's not redundant, what's it telling us? Lo Ishnasa Sheva, Lo Ishnasa Shmita. So what is the pasuk saying when it says Karva Shnasa Sheva Shnasa Shmita? So it must mean Shelo Tomar, that you shouldn't say Kol Shloshim Yom Ein Rashai Latovo. 30 days he can't demand him the loan. La'achar Shloshim Yom Beheshmek Sofimu, and after 30 days, Shemitah is going to come around. And lo yigvenu, and you shouldn't be able to collect. Hufum kein tzorich l'meimar, so say korban shnasa sheva shnasa shmita. 7 years coming, the 6th year Shemitah is coming. Now that it's very difficult to understand what those lines mean. So let's see the Pnei Moshe. So the Pnei Moshe says, Shlo tamar koshim yom klomar. It's not about this case. Shilvo shloshim yom kodem hashmita. So if I recall correctly, the way the Bavli says it is just that smach is There's yesh shmita acheres shikazu. There's another shmita which is like shmita. In other words, at a certain time you're not allowed to demand a loan, 30 days. But the Yerushalmi is much more elaborate. It has much more of a ramification and afkamina la'alocha, the way we learn it. It's so like this. He loaned money 30 days for a shmita. This person kind of tells us, be careful. Penny adovin lovcha blial, lest you have a very bad thought. Lemor to say karvosh nasa sheva. The 70 is coming. I'm not going to loan him money. Shelo tomar. You shouldn't say hello kos shloshim yom any rashai betovo belav. For 30 days, I can't demand the money anyway. The stam avosh shloshim yom, because by default, a loan is for 30 days. Ukshiyavu shloshim yom, when those 30 days pass, yagia shmita, it's going to be shmita. And this loan is going to cancel. Matter loig venu klaus, you'll never be able to collect it. Titin low, and therefore you're not going to give him the money. No son titin low, give him the money anyway. So it's a fascinating drasha. So Shmuel, the way Rabbi Yehuda explains the drasha, he's saying that the way he explains the pasuk is Karvosh Nasa Sheva, Shnasa Shmita means it's 30 days before Shmita. And I guess 30 days is close to the Shmita year, right? So it's 30 days before. And a guy comes to you and says, lend me money. And if it's a generic loan, it's going to be a loan for 30 days. So Karvosh Nasa Sheva, it's 30 days before Shemitah. Then it's not Shemitah, and then Shemitah is going to come, and it's going to cancel the loan. So you don't want to loan him money. Because listen, he says, listen, I say, I don't want to loan you money. I can't demand you the money back until 30 days. That night, Shemitah is going to cancel it. I have no window of opportunity to demand the money back from you. Yes, it's true. Maybe if it comes between the morning of Erev Rosh Hashanah and the night of Rosh Hashanah, maybe there's time then. But in fact, there's no time to collect the loan. So I don't want to lend you the money. I'm never going to be collected again. So the Chumrah says, no, don't do that. Loan her the money anyway. So, the right thing to do is to loan her the money, even though you know that the odds are the Shemitah is going to cancel it. So here we see from the fact says Karva Shnasa Sheva, that we're close to the close to Shemitah, and we assume the default of Karov is 30 days. You know how we know that? We know 30 days before Yontif, we're supposed to start learning the halachas of Yontif, because it's close to Yontif already. So therefore, 30 days, it's going to be close to Yontif. So it says, so it's 30 days for Yontif, and he comes to you, wants to borrow money. And you're going to say, no, I'm not going to loan you money because the day I can collect it is the same day Shemitah is going to cancel the loan. Torah says that's a dover blial. It's a bad thought. Loan the money anyway. And it says lefun kate so remember karva shnasa sheva shnasa shmita. Okay, so the Gemara says, "V'lo chen, Amar Rabbi Bar Memo, Rav Amar Masa b'Shem Rav." We also we said on Amar Aleph, right? Right on Aleph on the base at the bottom. We're quoting this Gemara with which he started today. Rabbi Bar Memo, Rav Amar. Rav Masna b'Shem Rav, Amavis Chaber Nashlo Lutovo Shlobo Shmiyas Misham Tosa. Right, so the one that says V'lo Chen Amrei Bar Memo Rav Amram Ramas Hashem Rav Hamavis Chaber Amanashlo Lutovo. Somebody who loans his friend in order to not to be tovehim. Here we have to put in the word ain. Ain Shvis Misham Tosa. Otherwise, the sukkah is not going to make sense. And And it's what happened on Alpha base. We said, I told you, what it says in the Gemara is what we have in front of us, and the way we learned it till now. So it says, some of them unfortunately put the word aim. We didn't put the word aim there. But now we have a different quote. It's the same people with a different Masorah, and that happens very often. Some people have the Masorah that Rav said, Shvius Misham Taso. And some people, the Masorah said, that Rav said, ain't Shvius Misham Taso. Right? So it seems like over here, the Gemara is going with the different Masorah, which happens to be the exact opposite Masorah. The different Masorah of what Rav said. On Alpha base, it was going with the Masorah that Rav says, Shvius Misham Taso. On base on the base, it's going with the Masorah that Rav said, ain't Shvius Misham Taso. And we know that that's the Girsa actually in the Masechah Shvius. So therefore, we know that we have these two Masorahs about what Rav said. So now the Gemara says, if you loan the money 30 days for Rosh Hashanah, so Shemitah is not going to cancel the loan. Now, in order to say this, you have to say that the loan is not due until Rosh Hashanah night. In other words, after 30 days. Not Erev Rosh Hashanah is the 30th day. So when is the loan due? After full 30 days. When is that? That's Rosh Hashanah night. But Shemitah was already Mishamet on Erev Rosh Hashanah as Rosh Hashanah was beginning. So the Gemara says, what's the problem? Why is he going to have a machshavas bliyah? Why is he going to have this terrible thought not to give the loan? He can give the loan because he can't demand the loan back for 30 days, right? And he can't demand the loan back until after 30 days. Because it said, you look back at the first line in the Yom, it says, Kol shloshim yom ein rashai l'tovo. All 30 days, he's not allowed to demand it back. Only after 30 days, when he's Rosh Hashanah by night. So if that's the case, what's the problem? By the time he can demand the loan, it's already after Rosh Hashanah, after Shemitah has taken effect. It's too late for this loan to be canceled. So if you're not allowed to be Tobed the loan within the 30 days, so then what's the problem? Okay, Korvash Nasa Shevash Nasa Shemitah. But since it's 30 days for Rosh Hashanah and you can only demand the loan after a full 30 days, so therefore the loan is only going to become due after Rosh Hashanah begins. When Rosh Hashanah begins, it's Eino Roy L'Tovo. I couldn't demand it yet within 30 days. And a loan which is Eino Roy L'Tovo, according to this version of Rav, Shemitah doesn't cancel it. Right? So therefore it's not a problem.
So if a loan goes for 30 days and Shemitah comes in the middle, the loan's not canceled?
That's what Gemara is assuming.
Okay.
That's what Gemara is assuming at this point, yes.
Okay.
So economic. Now we have a problem how to learn the pasuk. Because we want to say the pasuk teaches us about 30 days. But wait a second, the pasuk teaches us 30 days can't be tovea. So then we have a problem because then then Shemitah should not take effect on this loan. So therefore, how are we going to darshan the pasuk? So we have to find a different way to darshan the pasuk. And we'll find a different way to darshan the pasuk. So the pasuk is not going to teach us that stam avad shloshim yom. Stam avad shloshim yom is the rabbanon. It's not the rice. According to this, it seemed from now in the Yerushalmi, and it could be that the first opinion of Yerushalmi held the Raisa. You can't be Tobed during 30 days. And therefore, we have this problem. Because why is it Mechshavas Bliyah only comes due after 30 days are over? So, but now the Gemara is saying, no. The truth is that the Stam Avad Shloshim Yom is a Drabbana. It's not the Raisa. The Raisa you can collect during 30 days. And that's why the loan will be canceled by Shemitah. Okay, so if that's the case, how do we learn the pasuk? We just said the pasuk teaches us that he can't collect the loan within 30 days, what else could the pasuk possibly be coming to tell us? So says Gemara, I'll tell you what's telling us. Ashkach Tani, they found a brisa which tells us another drasha from the pasuk. Rabbi Shmuel says, Korba shnasa sheva, shnasa shmita. Same pasuk, right? Korba shnasa sheva, shnasa shmita. Lo ish nasa sheva, ish nasa shmita. Same question we asked before. It's redundant, right? Isn't he shnasa sheva, ish nasa shmita? Matam lomer korba shnasa sheva, shnasa shmita. Why does it say, therefore, korba shnasa sheva, shnasa shmita? If it's redundant, why say twice? Shelo tomar, you shouldn't say. Kol sheshlim karma lefonav sadeu lefonav. For all 6 years, he had his vineyard in front of him, and he had his field in front of him. So the guy who doesn't want to loan the money says all 6 years he had with what to pay back, because he had money from his field, he had money from his vineyard, and he would pay if he didn't have cash, I would be able to collect that. But now Shemitah, that becomes hefker. And even if he wants to pay me back the loan, let's say he says, I'll pay you back, even though Shemitah, which he's allowed to do, but I won't have anywhere to collect from. So therefore, I don't want to loan him money. I have no security. Till now, for 6 years, I had security. I could have collected from it. If he didn't have cash, I would collect from his land. The chasim mishubadim, land which is on the lien for the loan. Now I can't do that anymore. So therefore, I don't want to loan him money, right? As he says, Kol sheishanim karmel upon sadei upon. He had a vineyard I could collect from, a field I could collect from. Lachar sheishanim, after 6 years, the bash makes savimu. It's during Zashmatas Ksafim, and he won't have any cash, and I won't be able to collect from his fields either. Lo yigvenu. Okay, so that's to tell you, no, take your chances. Don't do that. Even though you might not have where to collect from, even if he's willing to pay you, still give him the loan. And and don't be concerned. You have to do a chesed, even though you're running a risk of not being able to get the money back. That's one way of learning it, which is based on the Kavanaki in Shvius, one of the commentators in Shvius. But there's another pshat here on the Pnei Moshe. I don't know. We have 4 minutes left, but we know sometimes Zoom cuts me off early. But let's try and do the Pnei Moshe anyway in time we have left. Shalot Makkos sheishanim. Harein yocholis parnes v'karmil musadi. So the guy who's asked for money says, I, not his. All 6 years I could have collected from his vineyard or his field. He says, all 6 years I have a field and a vineyard, right? After 6 years, I'm not allowed to work my field and my vineyard. Shemitah, it's also to work it, and it's hefker besides. But and you're telling me Shagamesh makes something me? Then not only that, I'm not going to be able to sustain myself from my field and my vineyard. You want me to loan money, which I'm going to lose? That's crazy. I want to have with what to live. How am I going to make a living during Shemitah? So according to the way we learned originally, the potential lender is saying he's not going to have where I can collect. Therefore, I don't want to loan him money, because if he doesn't have cash, and he has no collaterals, no security. According to Pnei Moshe is saying I won't have any land, and therefore I don't want to lend him money because I'm going to be left without any source of income. The Flumke Tzarech L'Meimar, going to further Pnei Moshe, Karvas Naz Shemitah. Hashem, the Klapei Tluna. So, concerning his complaint, Omar Kosev Shlo Tomar Karvas Shas Hashrev Sheva. Don't say Shemitah is coming. V'asani ba'avodas Sod B'kem, I'm not allowed to work my field and vineyard. The Karvas Naz Shemitah, besides that Shemitah is coming. V'ashmat V'ashmei Ksafim Gamkein, and also have to cancel the loan. So therefore, no. And the Torah says, don't have that. So again, we truly have to answer why is the pasuk redundant? Because it's coming to tell us 2 things. Karbash Nasa Sheva, which means that the fields and vineyards are going to be hefker, either mine or his. depending on how we're learning, whether it's like Kavanaki and Shvius, like Pnei Moshe. Karvish Nasa Sheva. And besides that, Shnasa Shemitah, the loan's going to be canceled, right? So I'm not going to have where to collect from, or according to the Kavanaki, or according to Pnei Moshe, I'm not going to have where to sustain myself from. So Pasuk is mentioning, you know why that you, even though your thought is justified on two levels, because you're not being able to have the fields of vineyards are going to be hefker, whether they're his or yours, and because it's going to cancel your loan of the money anyway. Doesn't matter. Take the risk, do the chesed, and loan of the money regardless. Okay, well, I think we'll stop here. It's a natural place to stop. Have a good night, guys. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.